Engaging from the safety of range, cover, or both, the fire support unit, like a ghoul in flight, surveys the battlefield from afar and rains destruction, upon the enemy with its copious weapon payload. With far more barrels than legs, the fire support unit excels at clearing forested land and reducing the hearing capacity of anyone nearby to zero. And damage, of course. Terrible, terrible damage. Due to its natural positioning at the rear of your line, it will likely remain one of the safest units you deploy, and loves to perch in a wooded area on top of a hill overlooking the battlefield. Of course, this safety allows you the opportunity to forego some of the defensive equipment you might feel required to use in other roles, which in turn lets you install even more weapons. After all, you can never have enough DACA. At least, that's what the voices told me. With its premium vision of the battlefield, the fire support unit is able to project vast amounts of power across the breadth of the enemy position. The range on its weapons payload giving commanders more flexibility in applying force where it is urgently needed. It has the ability to easily tailor weapon loadouts to complement the rest of the company, whether that be the inclusion of hard-hitting weapons to pin down the enemy for the more fleet of foot to exploit, or launching a multitude of projectiles to take advantage of the holes created by a burly, brawling front line. Unfortunately, this firepower comes at a cost, foremost of which is low mobility and a distinct lack of capacity to absorb punishment. The fire support unit will tend to struggle to keep up with mobile forces, and is especially vulnerable in an engagement that requires constant repositioning. Not only may it find itself unable to directly fire at targets as it contends with cover and terrain, but the slow speed makes it a risk for being caught out by opposing skirmish units, who will be unable to resist the tender behind of such a huge threat. They are all about that base. And speaking of huge, the fire support unit will likely be one of the heaviest units in your deployed force, taking up a substantial amount of your dropship tonnage. So on lighter missions, you may find it difficult to Tetris in all the mechs you want to bring along. It also has a tendency to be quite reliant on ammunition-based weaponry, and going Winchester in the middle of a meat grinder could result in the proverbial excrement making contact with the air distributor. Finally, as it tends to shoot in the long and extreme range weapon brackets, filling the cockpit with a green pilot could render the machine nearly worthless, so you may need to wait until you have some extra accuracy kit laying around, or your pilots get some experience to truly make this unit shine. Being a gigantic weapons platform, it's easy to be lured into shifting the majority of your forces into this role. However, turning your mechs into all gun and no run will prevent you from dictating the terms of engagement, so for most commanders, I encourage judicious use of dedicated fire support units. This role is especially well suited to the slower, more vulnerable nature of vehicles, especially those packing LRMs or artillery. Due to their ponderous nature, I'd also recommend leaving the majority of your pure fire support behind anytime your mission profile necessitates traveling over long distances or particularly rugged terrain, though the inclusion of a full rack of jump jets will help tremendously in these situations. On the plus side, fire support does great work assisting your forward units in assaulting objectives like an enemy base or hilltop, so I would not look to eliminate this role from your company completely. Due to its range and striking power, the unit is very versatile in more static engagements, where it does not lack for targets and occupies a secure position. In particular, if your command style finds you standing across the battlefield, trading blows with your enemy until one of you goes down, the fire support unit will help to ensure the battle turns in your favor. Building a fire support unit is simple. Get the biggest gun you can find, and attach enough wheels on it that it can roll downhill while remaining upright. Then, add more guns. In all seriousness, it still begins with the movement profile. The upper limit should be the same as your battle line, and the lower limit 1 to 2 points of walking speed slower than that. 2 points is really slow though, so if this is your first time building a dedicated fire support unit, I'd stick to no lower than a single point of movement difference. Armor up to approximately 75% of maximum, and then start tossing on weapons. You can't go wrong with the heavy hitters like Gauss or PPCs, or the crit-seeking capability of missile tubes. Just make sure whatever you put on has a good amount of range. You will probably want at least one weapon that has some indirect fire capability to ensure that the unit is always sending something downrange, even when it doesn't have line of sight. Don't forget to dedicate space for your ammunition either, and plenty of it at that. The fire support unit is a prime candidate for all those different types of ammo you've accumulated. Just watch your heat, and you can consider shaving that armor down even further if you feel comfortable with your tactics. The fire support is a good all-around inclusion into a company, but depending on your playstyle, you may want more or less of this type. The wall and attrition playstyles in particular may find their battle line and fire support units blurring into a single role, while the more aggressive strategies will likely want to limit themselves to just a few.